Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do the February 27th Spiritual Principle a Day in a Meditation. I hope you're doing well today. I have uploaded the Just for Today twice, I think, but it still isn't showing. So if you are having a problem finding it, please leave a comment below on this video. February 27th, Powerlessness opens the door. When we admit our powerlessness and our inability to manage our own lives, we open the door to recovery. That comes from the basic text, chapter 4, step 1. Practicing powerlessness as a spiritual principle may seem far-fetched to many of us. Admitting defeat is a concept we're very uncomfortable with. But what's ironic is that we're already practicing powerlessness to some extent by attending our first NA meeting. And even before that, very likely we've had our moments of crying out to something to stop this madness, this pain, begging to get well, pleading to finally get to sleep, fearing the sun coming up or going down again, promising and bargaining another time, the last time, we swear. The surrender of step 1 is often terrifying for us because it's a threshold we can't easily back away from once we make ourselves truly vulnerable to it. Try as some of us might, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We can't return to using and just forget that people like us are staying clean in NA. We admit that we're addicts, that we're powerless over our addiction, and that we cannot manage our own lives. We need power to survive, and we gain it with the help of other recovering addicts, a program, and a higher power. Practicing powerlessness is not a one-time occurrence. We are faced with embracing it over and over again. No, we get to do it over and over. A member reminds us from the podium. I used to feel so defeated by my powerlessness, but now that I have experienced some relief from active addiction and the benefits of getting this honest about my life, I see it as a source of strength and possibility, the possibility of recovery and a better life. Yes, we open the door to recovery. On some days, that door is flung wide open because we are wide open. On other days, we can only muster a crack to let a bit of willingness flow out and our higher power flow in. It's a relief to admit I'm powerless over my addiction, in whatever form it takes. I ask for help because my real power comes when I surrender. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you, God. Grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Powerlessness opens the door. This meditation is nice, and I'll tell you why, because it stirred something in my heart when I read that, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. No matter if we try or want to, once you have squeezed that little bit of toothpaste out, it's out. It's the same way with step 1. It's the same way with our surrender. It's the same way of coming to our first NA meeting. When you realize for the first time that other people are doing what you claim to want to do, right? Because you remember when you say you are. When you realize that there are people that meet on a regular basis that have the same intention as you to stop using drugs on a day-to-day basis, and they're actually doing it, That can never be swiped from your memory. Excuse me. Even if you go back to using, you know that there's hope because you have seen it with your own two eyes. It has been embedded in your memory and you can't get rid of it. That's what this means, right? Keeping it simple. That's exactly what this means. Once you've been introduced to the program of Narcotics Anonymous and you've made a first meeting and you've engaged in that meeting, there's no turning back. I wouldn't care if you were in a rehab. And H&I is bringing, right, for some people, H&I is hospitals and institutions. It's a committee within Narcotics Anonymous that visits jails and treatment centers and takes the meetings to those people inside there. In other institutions, I'm sure, but those are the first two that come to mind. So even if you're in rehab and meetings are being conducted in rehab, or in jail, you understand and you know that there is hope. There is the possibility of recovery that can never be taken away from you. Now, whether or not you actually recover, that's up to you. Many people come into the program, they just stay abstinent and they don't want anything else. They still want the fast life. They still go clubbing and they just don't pick up. Some people do it, right? I hope that's not going to be the case with you. I hope that you'll actually, get a sponsor and start working on the steps. Some people, well, I don't read that well. Okay. A lot of the stuff that NA now offers comes on audio versions, right? It can be read to you. My husband, he has had the step working guide. It works, right? That step writing guide that we have, the flat book, the green and gold, he's had that for a very long time. An audio version of it. I don't know where he got it, but I know that he has it, right? And so probably you could even type in the basic text on YouTube and be able to find the book being read. That's a very good idea. Maybe I'll do something like that, right? Or go back to covering the steps right here on this channel, because there's a lot of people that they don't read that fluently and they need help with that so that they can participate in their recovery. But the point of this meditation is once you get started and you see that there's other people like us, like you, trying to recover and actually doing it day to day, you can never take that back. I've heard many relapsing individuals come back to the meeting, resurrender and say, y'all messed up my high. NA messed up my high. See, it took away and it takes away the excuses for the continued drug use, because we've shown you just by being present at a meeting, we've shown you that many of us coming from the gutter of using have stopped as a direct result of our participation in the program of recovery. And so your powerlessness is more than just words, right? Your powerlessness is a true surrender mentally that active addiction won, and you're giving it up. You'll never be able to get high enough. And so when you surrender to using, you surrender rather, the using, doors open up. Lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise. And that's exactly what that means. You got a whole world of opportunity in living a recovering life ahead of you with just one surrender. And sometimes you have to surrender again, right? You ever heard those sayings where you have to get the one step perfectly? Which step is it? It's the step one. There has to be a complete surrender. You know why? Because if you don't have that, there's going to be a reservation. And when whatever you have reserved the right to use comes up, you more than likely will go back to using. And I don't want that for you. I don't. I want for you, while you're sitting here listening, I want for you to stay here. If you're struggling and you're listening and you're high, I want to say to you that you can resurrender and you can absolutely do it. There's so many virtual meetings now. You can get a meeting, and it's down in the comments. One of the meetings that's 24/7 that I frequently host, right? You can make a meeting anytime. You can wake up at 2 a.m. and feel like you need to go get one and decide to do something different. Instead of going to get high, you can actually just go on your phone and pull up the meeting and let the meeting play in the background. I know many people that have gone to sleep with those 24/7 NA meetings on Zoom in the background, just playing. And it helps them to rest easier. They feel safe in that environment of voices of recovering people sharing all day and all night. If they can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. Surrender to win. Surrender to win. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I can't wait to get to the rest of my day. You take care of yourself, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.